5, and we are live, guys. Hi, everyone. Thank you. Welcome to the fifth episode. Is that right, Shubhangi?
Yeah, I
Is
guess,
this
yeah.
the fifth episode? Yes, the fifth episode of iZooto's virtual office hours. Thank you so much for joining us today. And today I have a new, fresh panel for you, right? Yes, we are missing. We don't have our usual culprit today, but we do have Shubhangi. Hi,
Yeah. Hi,
Shubhangi.
guys. Hi, guys. Hi,
Hey,
Vivek.
hi. So Shubhangi is part of our iZooto's content marketing team. She leads the marketing part of content marketing, right? We also have Shrikant. You met Shrikant a few days back. Hey, Shrikant,
Hi
how's it going?
everyone. Yeah, going good.
Very well. Awesome, blossom. And then, yes, we have a fresh face for us with us today. Hey, Bani, how are you?
Hey, Vivek. Good. How are you?
I'm good. Keeping sane. Thanks. So, Bani is a part of our customer success team, and she deals with a lot of our customers in Southeast Asia. Is that right,
Yeah.
Bani?
Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
Awesome. Cool. So that's the panel for you guys. Guys, so now the reason I had to think a bit about whether it is the fifth episode or the fourth episode, some level, right? And it takes a bit to get your days and dates and numbers back in your head. But again, without much ado, we'll quickly jump into today's topic. Today's topic is push notification KPIs that must be measured. Right now, I'll give you a quick context on why this topic. Right, because this is one question that our CS team, that our customer success team, our account managing team, our onboarding team battles a lot. Customers, publishers, marketeers, editors across the globe keep on asking them these questions, like, hey, what should we be tracking right now? What's a good benchmark? What's a good CTR? What's a good opt-in rates, right? And again, right, because it's marketing, because push notification eventually is a part of a marketing technology stack, right? As usual, it is full of jargons, right? Jargons which can confuse you, jargons which can be used to mislead you, right? So today, what we'll do is we'll do a quick round. We'll break down all the jargons for you, right? And then we'll talk about KPIs that you as a team must be measuring when it comes to specifically push notifications. All right, guys. So yeah, so let's go. Let's dive in straight away. Shrikant, right? What do you think is the most confusing jargon when it comes to push notifications?
Um, I think the very first question that would come to either support or customer success team would be the subscription rate or opt-in rate. I know it's a standard term. It's not a jargon per se, but push notifications being a very different channel compared to, let's say, the traditional channels like email or app push notifications. People tend to ask those questions and they don't have a lot of clarity on what would subscription rate for push notifications mean, and what should be the ideal subscription rate for a website, or what should be the benchmark that they should aim for. So I think that would be the first KPI or jargon that people would face.
Right. Okay, got it. Okay, so you're saying push notification subscription rate, push notification opt-in rate is a jargon, and yes, that's right. I'll take a quick shot at explaining that to the listeners. Opt-in rate essentially stands for number of users who actually saw the opt-in versus number of users who actually clicked on allow, right? Now, what is interesting here to understand is this, right? I said users in both the terms, right? Often people might confuse this as number of users who clicked on allow versus number of times the opt-in was viewed. These two can be two different numbers, right? We're talking about unique users who saw the notification prompt, and we're talking about unique users who allowed the notification prompt, right? We obviously have a very interesting article on a blog which talks about the standards, the benchmarks, and obviously we spoke about the Chrome UX report, which came out a few weeks back, right? And how that'll further impact, how that'll play a key role in Chrome quality notification UI coming up, right? Okay, so Bani, you tell me, right, as a customer success manager, right, which term have you had to explain most to your customers?
Uh, so whatever customers I have onboarded till date, thankfully everyone was they had detailed understanding of push notifications.
Mm-hmm.
One thing which they want to know for sure is that how can we in push notifications help them to increase the conversions. This is one thing
Right.
which I get to hear from almost all the customers.
Got it.
Yeah.
Right. So are we talking about conversion goals which they have set up on their own website, or push notification opt-in as a conversion goal?
Conversion goal which they have made as per their own website.
Got it. Perfect. Fantastic. Right. Shumangi, you're the new buyer here. I think you're on mute right now. Shumangi, I think you're on mute.
This is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes. Yeah. So which term so when you got onboarded, when you got started, right? Which term confused you the most?
So there was this whole I just had this one-on-one with Bani once, and she was telling me how there are a lot of terms and how there are a lot of how do customers ask them about conversions, and there were a long list that she gave me, and it took some time to understand finally. But yeah, take it.
Right.
Okay.
So which one was which term sort of was the most difficult one for you?
I think so far, I think conversion rate or clicks, so everything about that.
Got it. Okay. The one term that I have personally explained a lot to all of our customers is around push notification ads, right? People somehow are not able to put together these two words in the same phrase. That what is a push notification ad, and that's where I usually pull out the push notification ad anatomy, explaining that when you put an ad on a push notification, right? That's what really a push notification ad means, right? So if I'm a publisher and Shrikant is an advertiser who wants to advertise about his latest collection of earphones, when I am promoting Shrikant's earphones to my audience, right, that eventually becomes an ad, right? And there are specific formats for that. While it's not a recognized, it's not an IAB standard, IAB advertising standard, right? It does. It is now very close to becoming a mainstream channel of advertising, right? Ad networks across the globe use push notification ads, and that's something a lot of publishers have a hard time in understanding, right? But either which ways, once the money starts, once they see the money, right, every jargon finds its way. Everybody finds their way to clarify the jargon for themselves, right? Okay, so going back to the KPI discussion, right? Now, what is important to understand is this, right? While we discuss KPIs and what KPIs should be measured, just a disclaimer from our side, right? KPIs are married to each business and each business stage, right? What might appear to be vanity metric to some might be mission critical for some, right? What might appear to be an effort to boil the ocean for some might be the only option for somebody to execute, right? Each business, depending upon what they do, where they are exactly in that journey, right, chooses their own metrics and chases those metrics specifically, right? For example, in times of Corona, in COVID times, as we call it, the metrics have gone for a toss, right? Every small and medium business out there is chasing just one metric, which is cash flow, which is cash in the bank and runway that they have, right? Now, so coming back quickly to push notifications, right? And we'll just do a quick round here. I know Shrikant works with a lot of publishers across the country, large publishers as well, right? So Shrikant, what do you think are the key metrics that publishers that you are working with, you have seen closely, are tracking obsessively right now when it comes to push notifications?
Okay, so the three KPIs that stand out for me from all these discussions with publishers from India as well as outside of India are first, the total subscriber base that you have with push notifications, the number of users that you can reach out to. Second one would be, as I mentioned, the opt-in rate, which again, we should get deeper into it. What actually is opt-in rate and what are the factors that impact opt-in rate for different publishers. We should talk about that definitely. And third one would be the number of clicks, which ultimately result into sessions for them. So those are the three metrics that they track very closely, and those are the metrics that they measure the performance of push notifications as a channel against all the other channels that they are using to engage their existing users.
Got it. Perfect. Right. Pani, in your experience, I know you have worked with a lot of banking clients, a lot of e-commerce, a lot of direct-to-consumer brands, right? What kind of KPIs do these customers, do these brands set for themselves when they are executing their push notification setup?
Yeah, so it's similar to publishers, how publisher customers make their KPIs for push notifications. The first thing which, Shrikant mentioned, subscribers for them is a big part for them. The more the subscribers they have, more conversions or more leads they will generate from them. Second, they look on the number of campaigns they push. This is also one KPI for them. So they strategize their campaigns very wisely, and the timing of the notifications are also they choose it very wisely so that the subscribers do not churn out. And then CTR for them means a lot. They want that whatever content they are pushing out, every subscriber read or opens up that notification, and then eventually the conversions or revenue. If it is an e-com customer, they will look for the sales, and if it is BFSI, they look for leads.
Got it. Right. So it's amazing, right? You mentioned so many things in that tight answer, right? I'll just sort of dissect some of those points for our listeners, right? So you said audience growth, right? And it's also what Shrikant also emphasized upon, that audience growth is extremely important, right? And to just track that one single metric, you sort of have to further double click or zoom upon the opt-in experience and the opt-in rates, right? So Shrikant, let's just sort of go back to that point again, right? So you said opt-in rates are important, and the way opt-in rates are defined is users who are viewing the prompt and users who are actually clicking on allow, right? And we also know for a fact that with Chrome notification, with Chrome AT and the quieter notification UI coming up, right? The block rate is also going to become an important criteria as the browser decides who should see the prompt and who should not see the prompt, right? What else would you sort of want to zoom upon specifically in the opt-in experience as a metric, as a KPI?
As you mentioned, the opt-in experience is very critical, and if you had to look at some of the metrics that you would want to, or some of the numbers that you want to take a look at, the allow rate and block rate would be the ones to start with. And additionally, you should also look at the number of people actually dismissing the permission prompt and number of people who are ignoring it. So, a combination of the ideal opt-in rate, in my opinion, should be 2 to 5%. But again, you cannot simply look at a number of people clicking on allow. You also need to take a look at how many people are actually blocking notifications, because there's hardly any way to get those users back or get those users to subscribe to notifications again. So the trigger on which you'll actually ask users to subscribe to notification is the most critical one. We see that a lot of websites, in order to capture the subscriber base or build a subscriber base quickly, they'll go for the native opt-in, where you ask users to subscribe to notifications as soon as they come on the website, without giving them enough context around what are they signing up for by clicking on allow.
Right.
That I think people tend to follow that particular subscription flow a lot in order to capture subscriber base. But in the long run, I don't think the website owners will be able to build a sustainable base using that flow, because what we are experiencing is the lifetime of such subscribers is very less in the system. So the users who subscribe to notifications where they do not have enough context, they'll probably churn out from your system in less than 30 days, and you have lost that user forever. So it's very important that you ask user for the permission at the right time by giving the right context. Apart from that, there are obviously things that you should additionally consider, which is giving them options to choose their preferences in terms of what type of notifications do they want to subscribe to, and what should be the right frequencies for them, because those preferences will be different for different users. As a user, I might want to receive not more than a notification from a website a day. So keeping that into account is also very important. And I think, it was a black hole for quite some time. And, both of us were discussing with the product manager from Chrome, PJ, and he happened to share those stats with us. It was quite an eye opener for us specifically. And, the fact that it is out there in open forum where every website can look at those numbers for themselves and look at how can they improve on the subscription experience for their users. All the website owners have access to those metrics or those numbers. I think as a marketer, you should take a look at those numbers very closely and figure out what works well for your website users and define that experience, or keep on building that experience accordingly.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. So quickly jumping on to Shubhangi now, right? Shubhangi, I know for a fact that you as a marketer, you're obsessed about getting, as somebody who is taking charge of distribution of content, marketing content, right?
Yeah.
You're obsessed about every single view that the content piece gets, right? As a part of your, as literally part of your KPIs, which you chase right now, right? So now we know that notification views is a very important metric, right? And very few platforms actually provide that metric right now. But apart from notification views, there's clicks, and as Bani was saying, a couple of these folks, also track the conversions as they have set it up, right? But help me understand, right? From your point of view, right? Whenever you have seen some of these publishers, you've been on a bunch of customer interviews, right? The views and the clicks, exist out there, of course. But let's just talk about the benchmarks, right? What's good CTR? Because every customer sort of eventually comes, circles back at some point and says, "Hey, what's a good CTR that we should be chasing for our notifications?" Right?
Yeah.
What's the experience on this? What do you think?
I feel that like open rate and everything is fine. But when you are putting your stuff out there, putting your content out there, you need to see how many people are actually talking about it. Are people like engaging with it? Are people actually sharing it? Are people commenting? Are there discussion? Like, you see Reddit, right? So Reddit has these whole subreddits where people actually discuss something which is published. So that is, I think, a huge parameter which which measures that whether your stuff out there or your piece out there matters or not.
Right. So what I'm hearing you say is this, that for publishers out there, CTR is actually, for some of the publishers out there, CTR might actually become a vanity metric, right? What really matters the most is the actual engagement which they're seeing on that content clip itself, right? For example, I know for a fact that a couple of customers chase social sharing as a goal, right? They want people to share that stuff on Facebook, share it on Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Plus is a rip already, but that's fine. Yeah, right. So yes, yeah, I agree, right? I also know for a fact that a bunch of customers chase time spent per session on the website.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, so
yeah. So
the amount
those
of
are
time
also
that
key
somebody
metrics.
spends. Yeah. Definitely,
Yeah.
Just to add on that, I think as far as the communication is concerned, the key metric that a business would chase would remain the same. So let's say for a publisher, if they're using push notifications or email, they'll look at number of sessions that they have activated using a particular channel, and then probably how much time are they spending on website. Whereas for an e-commerce, they'll look at, as Bani mentioned, they'll look at number of sales. So that is the ultimate business metric. You can use push notifications for pretty much all types of communication. But the business objective would be to drive that one metric. And for different businesses, it will be different. For BFSI side, it might be, total number of leads generated from certain campaigns. So ultimately it remains the same, but it depends on how effectively do you communicate with users. What are the right timing to reach out to your set of users? That's where the channel intelligence comes into picture. But for everything else, that metric remains the same.
Got it. Perfect. Okay. So this is fine, right? So far we have heard audience growth is a key metric, right? So the pace at which you are acquiring subscribers, right? The engagement metric fit that audience, which is the CTRs and the clicks, is important, right? Then the conversion metrics, depending upon what exactly do you do as a business. Are you selling coffee? Or are you selling trees, planters, right? Depending on whatever you're selling, that's important. So track your conversions, track your lead generations, track your social shares, track the number of comments, track the time people are spending on the website, depending on what you do. Track those key metrics, right? Now, all of this is key and important, right? I want to go back to what Bani had said earlier, right? Which was around, Bani had used a very dangerous word. The word was churn, right? Subscribers churn, right? Now, Bani, now again, right? As much as every marketer hates it, right? Some people don't like push notifications, right? Some people get pissed off because of push notifications. Some people don't like the timing. Some people don't like the content. And it's fair. You cannot get it right every single time. And you cannot get it right every single time for every single person, right? So some people will unsubscribe. And thanks to all the browsers in the world, unsubscription is now 2-click process. Swipe left, click, and that's it, right? Now, given the ease of unsubscription, right? Bani mentioned that people track churn. Bani, help me understand, why is that important?
Because it's very important for a marketer to keep their subscribers with them. They don't want the subscribers to lose, because if they lose their subscribers, then first of all, they should know the reason why the people are churning, why the users are churning. Then basis that, if they know, if the count of people who are unsubscribing is huge, then they have to see what problem is with their promotions, with the campaigns, what they're sending. So it's really very important to understand I know it's for sure that people will churn, but if the count is high, like more than 50, 60, 70% is it's the churn percentage is there, then it's really a point of concern for them. They should go and see change their strategy, their content, their timings. So it's really very important to track churn percentage.
Amazing point, right? So you're seeing that, put that feedback back into your campaign strategy, right? And ensure that you're able to improve upon, right? So and this is despite you having a high CTR, high number of clicks, right? If you are seeing churn today, take that feedback and put it back into your campaign strategy and see, and try changing content, try changing timings, try changing the audience, right? Try finding try finding out the right trigger to push out that communication specifically. Fantastic point there, right? Now, Shrikant, I want to come back to you at the point, and you used a very specific word back then. You used the word cohort, right? I use the word retention, right? Obviously, that is linked to what Bani said, churn, right? So people churn, and people churn because they don't like a notification, which is fair and square, right? But you mentioned that subscriber activity is married to subscriber age, right? Now, how does that work really, right? So what does a good cohort look like? And okay, but so before that, why don't you explain what a cohort means in the first place to our users?
Okay, sure. I'm not sure whether I'm the right person to do that, but yeah. It's a very fancy term, but the basic objective of using cohort is to analyze whether you have improved on a certain metric or not. So let's say if I talk about push notification subscribers, the kind of cohort report that I would want to see would be, let's say for subscribers acquired in February, and the timing or the time period could be very different. I can probably track the cohorts on weekly basis or monthly basis. Let's start with, let's say, monthly experiments. As a publisher, let's say in the month of Jan, for all the subscribers newly acquired, I used to send out 3 to 4 notifications a day. And I figure out that the churn rate for those subscribers is 3 months. Then in the month of February, I go ahead and increase the frequency of notifications. I increase it to 7 to 8 notifications, and then again I come back to the same metric, which is their lifetime, and I notice that it has come down to 30 days. Then I start the month of February, and I schedule 2 notifications a day, that too very contextual notifications by segmenting users basis their preferences and their activity on the website. And suddenly I realized that I was able to get that number up to 6 months. As far as the lifetime is concerned, I think that would be one cohort report that I would want to look at. So it's basically finding out how a similar set of users are behaving, so that you can probably set certain experiments and find out whether different set of users for same metrics, are they doing better or are they performing worse than they were earlier. So that's one key objective of looking at cohort reports. But
Right.
we looked at lifetime as the metric. It could be something else as well. We could look at the response rate as well, in order to figure out for the subscribers in, let's say, February 2022, sorry, 20, what was the response rate like, and can I do or can I set up one additional experiment and get that response rate up or not?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how you should look at cohorts.
Right. Interesting, right? Because I've not sort of seen. So I'll just sort of quickly summarize that for our listeners. So saying cohorts are unique set of users who are acquired in a specific time period, and tracking their behavior and tracking their journey in the system as they grow old, and what are they doing in the system, what are they not doing in the system, right? Which including whether they're clicking, non-clicking, are they still subscribers, are they still active, inactive, and so on and so forth. Fantastic point, Shrikant. Now, what is also important to sort of talk about here is, at what time do you start tracking these metrics, right? At what time do you start tracking? At what time do you start tracking retention reports? At what time do you start obsessing about your opt-in rates and so on, right? Bani, what do you think is a good time, right? When do you think customers should focus on these metrics, such as retention reports? So at what stage, right, should they do what? So let's say I'm a new customer, I've just set up my website, it's a growing website, I've just set up push notifications. What do you think I should be tracking in the first few weeks as compared to what I should be tracking after 3 months from now? Yeah.
Okay, so as soon as you have set up your account and you have started acquiring subscribers, um, I would suggest at the same time you should start tracking the activity of those subscribers, because the earlier we know the activity of subscribers, the earlier we'll be able to do campaigns, the earlier we'll be able to strategize campaigns for the subscribers. Initial step is to
Right.
push campaigns when we are sending, when we we push notifications to our overall audience, and then side by side we are tracking their journey. Then at the same time we can segment those subscriber bases, their activity on the website.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, fantastic. Right. So fairly straightforward. Focus on tracking once everything is set up. Track your audience growth, track user activity, track user behavior. Right. And once things are stable, when things are sorted out, ensure that you have your conversion tracking in place. Right. And start wrapping up from there. All right. Okay. Well, thanks for that. That was a quick summary. Cool, guys. I think we are now. It's almost, yeah, I think at time we with the last 2 minutes we started at sharp at 10:06 ET. Yeah, we're now at 10:36 right now, but we'll take a quick 2 minutes to sort of summarize the discussion. We spoke about audience growth, about what you need to specifically focus in terms of audience growth, which is opt-in rates. What exactly do you want to track in opt-in rate, which is the template that you're using right now, the experience around that template specifically, right? Move forward in the journey of the user, track what the user is doing on the website, ensure that your conversion goals are set up, ensure that your conversion goals are in line with the stage of the business. Don't start tracking customer lifetime value if your business is less than 2 months old, right? Track conversions, track sales, track clicks, track sessions early on in the journey. As the business grows, start focusing a lot more on metrics as increase in revenue contribution of channel, right? Average order value, and so on. Right? Once this is done, start focusing on and once you have this part sorted out, then start focusing on the lifetime value of a subscriber. Focus on who is which campaigns are triggering churn, which campaigns are attracting maximum users, which campaigns are causing least amount of churn and helping you maximize the lifetime value of the user on your platform. Right? That's what essentially these are the key metrics. We'll ensure that we have a deck and our blog post mentioned once we publish this video. Right? Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. Right? It was lovely. Thanks for the conversation. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.